Peace, peace. This your host, Selah Shalom, and this is the Cosmon Teachings in the words of Jehovah and his angel ambassadors from the Cosmon Bible of WASPI. And the topic of discussion today is called the Introduction to the 24th Ark Cycle after the creation of man, the coming of Moses of Egypt, CAPILYA of India, and CHINE of China. While many people know of Moses, not too many know of CAPILYA and CHINE, which were lawgivers just like Moses, but for the countries of India and China at the same time period. Just as the Creator sent Moses to redeem a people, likewise with CAPILYA and CHINE. Now in the book of Lekah, son of Jehovah, known in heaven as the dawn of Bon, and on earth as the cycle of Moses, CAPILYA and CHINE, Jehovah said, I give unto the earth a time of full earthhood, and that the generations of men might know the period thereof. Behold, I caused man to build a pyramid in the middle of the world, for it was my mark, that from that time henceforth man should turn from stone temple and hope of everlasting flesh life to rejoice in spiritual abodes in my ETHEREAN heavens. And I brought the earth out of darkness and encompassed it around with the dawn of Bon. And here it gives the name of the 24th ark cycle called the Ark of Bon. And in the OASPI, it refers to the beginning of an ark cycle as dawn. Now in the book of Lekah, son of Jehovah, chapter 1, it states, verse 1, In the far-off ETHEREAN world spoke the voice of Jehovah, saying, Leka, Leka, my son, behold the red star, the earth. She cometh thy way. She mergeth dark and soiled from the forests of Jaya, in the swamps of Bonazah. She will cross thy ETHEREAN fields, the Takuspi, and Opel, and Widojane, dripping with the odor and dross of the Jayan swamps. Go thou to her, and wash clean her soil, and her atmospherian heavens. So that's just an example of the travel of the earth and her heavens through these ETHEREAN regions. And this is describing no different than how we travel on a road trip, when we travel through dry terrain, wet terrain, stormy terrain, and so forth. That's the same example that the earth and her heavens do in the travel with the sun and the solar system. Verse 2, Lekah said, Alice, O Jehovah, how have they forgotten thee? Verse 3, I will go to the red star, the earth, O Father. I will deliver her into purity and faith. Thy chosen shall be delivered from bondage. Thy God made triumphant on earth and in her heavens. Verse 6, Lekah said, 500 million ETHEREAN hosts will I take with me. For 5 years and 40 days will I and my host sojourn on the red star and in her heavens. Her true God shall be restored and delivered in my name, by Jehovah's hand, according to the rank of harvest of the gardens of Hanyan. So shall my marshals choose and record my hosts. So here, as the heavens and the earth enter the 24th ark cycle, Yahweh calls upon the ETHEREAN angel, Lekah, to take charge of the heavens and the earth for the 24th ark cycle. And the purpose of the ETHEREANs is to deliver the chosen out of bondage during the dawn of the cycle. And the dawn of the cycle refers to the first 4 to 8 years out of the ark cycle of a 3,000-year period. The ETHEREAN god Lekah came with the host of 500 million, and will stay in the heavens and the earth for a period of 5 years and 40 days, from 1553 BC to 1546 BC. It is between these years that the ETHEREANs are responsible for delivering the chosen out of bondage in the lands of Kemet, India, and China. And it is during this time where you have a lot of cataclysmic activity going on in this time period. And the cause behind it now are these ETHEREANs. So out of 3,000 years, these ETHEREANs stay between 4 to 8 years at the beginning of every cycle in the heavens of the earth to instruct the God of heaven and earth about the commandments for the next 3,000 years. And then the God of heaven and earth will pass the commandments to the next God that succeeds him, which is the next subcycle, and so on until the ending of the cycle. And it is when an angel or a group of angels decide to go against these commandments set up by the ETHEREAN gods in control that makes them false gods, such as the case of Anuhasaj, style Dais. And it was during this same time period, the dawn of the 24th ark cycle, that Anuhasaj style Dais and his heavenly kingdom, including Osiris, Sudga, Tian, and Anubis, all were delivered out of hell by the ETHEREAN host of the Etherian god Laka. Now here is the resume of this Etherian god. Just like we have work resumes showing our work history and an experience with the length of years, likewise with these Etherian gods. Verse 9. Laka sprang from the corporeal star Atos, which traveled the roads Yatas Ko Oin of the southern circuit of Thosi, the vortex of another far-off sun, and was raised to the Etherian in the cycle of Saka, 125,000 years, by Mithya, goddess of Oriya, afterward chieftainess of Yeuna Gamaya. So here it states he was raised from the star Atos. That is like us saying we come from the star Earth. That's that equivalent. So he's showing you where his native-born star was from. Verse 10. And Laka rose to be god of Alasak, 4,000 years, god of Kema, 6,000 years, inspector of Judas, Etherian roads at the Jayan swamps of Hennesit, 15,000 years, surveyor of Awalt, 2,000 years, surveyor of the Waka excursion, 4,000 years, recorder of Haiti Somat, 8,000 years, deliverer of Habayan vortices, 26,000 years, measurer of densities in a blank, 1,000 years, recorder of the Ratiotiva, 2,000 years, god of the home plains of Seteverist, 12,000 years, and chief of Vetepasua, 25,000 years. So here it gives a history about this Etherian god being born from the terrestrial world Atos. That is equivalent to saying Earth. And his harvest into the Etherian world becoming an Etherian god took place when his planet Atos entered into the arc cycle of Sakai. And the length of years mentioned total for this Etherian god and his work resume is 221,000 years, showing you the magnitude of Yahweh's creation and also showing how we become the gods in the spirit world as we mature in the spirit realm. Book of Laka, son of Jehovah, chapter 4, verse 1, it states, Jehovah spoke in the light of the throne of Karskat in Vetepasua, saying, Lika, my son, this is my road and my journey with thee and thy hosts. My voice shall travel with power. On the earth will I lie my foundation in spirit and word. Thy companions, chiefs and chieftainess, shall go down with thee. They shall help deliver the inhabitants of the earth and her heavens. Verse 2. My enemies have marked their labor in temples and pyramids, because their hearts rose not up to me. They descended into stone, the most dead of all things. They have carried the inhabitants of the earth down to rottenness and to death. Suffer their monuments to stand as testimony of them that hate me, that denied me, that believe not in me, the all-person. So here the Creator states that the temples and pyramids were built in the glorification of these false gods, as I verified through the wars against Jehovah. Verse 3, my building shall be the most subtile of all things, the spirit of my own body. Verily shall it be a monument within the souls of my chosen, nor will it go away again in darkness, but it shall encompass the whole earth. Verse 4, for those shall find my chosen a scattered people, persecuted and enslaved, the most despised of all the races of men. But I will show my power with them. I will raise them up. The things I do through them, and the words I speak through them, even in their ignorance and darkness, shall become mighty. Their words shall be treasured forever, and none can match them in wisdom of speech or in the craft of good works. And this is a reference to the chosen of the three great lands, Egypt, India, and China. And this is also a reference to when the Israelites left out of Kemet, and their words became the foundation for generations to come, which is even now. The words of the prophets still ring out. Verse 5, but the learned men of all other people shall be forgotten. Their wisdom be like the wind that bloweth away. The self-gods and self-lords that led them astray shall be as a serpent that biteth itself unto death. Yea, as long as their pyramids and temples stand, their own falsehood shall stare them in the face. Verse 6, they have bound themselves in their own bulwarks. They shall yet be my laborers, thousands of years, to undo the evil they sowed on the earth. nor shall they look down from heaven and behold with joy their temples and pyramids. But as one beholdeth a coal of fire burning in the flesh, so shall their edifices cry out unto them forever, though false one, and it shall be to them a burning fire that will not die out. Verse 7. And their great learning, even of the stars and the sun and the moon, and of all the things of the earth, and in the water shall pass away, and be remembered not among men. Yea, the names of their men of great learning shall go down, with none to remember them on the earth. And in time, long after, the nations of the people will forget them and their wisdom, and even pity them, and say of them, what a foolish people. Verse 8. But my chosen, who are their slaves, and are as nothing in the world, shall speak, and their words shall not be forgotten, shall be written, and their book shall be a new foundation in the world, because my hand shall be upon them. My wisdom shall come forth out of their mouths. Now this is another reference to the prophets of Israel, how their words became new foundations in the world. Verse 9. And this shall be testimony in the ages to come as to what manner of knowledge endureth forever. For as the buildings of the earth remain on earth, and the spirits of them that incline to the earth raise not up, so have I bound corpor in corpor. But as I planted the quickening spirit of man in man for spiritual knowledge, so shall spiritual knowledge look upward for an everlasting resurrection. Verse 10. Lakah asks, O thou highest Jehovah, what are the preparations of thy gods? Wherein shall my hand be strong on earth? Jehovah answered, saying, For 6 generations aback hath my God prepared unto thee and thy hosts. My voice was with my God, and I said unto him, My son, behold, the time cometh in 6 generations when I will bring the earth into another dawn of light, and in that day will I bring my son, Lakah, from my ETHEREAN worlds, and he shall come with a mighty host of ETHEREANs with great power. Go thou, my son, down to the earth, and with thy lo is thy masters of generations, and raise up and hear unto the voice. In the 3 great divisions of the earth provide those 3 servants to do my will. So here's an example of how a prophet is raised, prepared by the angels in that field. In the heavenly kingdom of God, there is a section where you have a group of angels that are called masters of generations, also called Lu'is. Their duty is to raise up prophets by controlling the inspiration of man and woman to come together in purity and holiness, to marry, which in return will produce holy and pure offspring. These angels inspire couples to marry for this purpose of producing pure and holy children. And it takes 6 generations, which a generation is a period of 33 years. So this would be 200 years for these angels to raise up a prophet capable of hearing the Creator's voice. So 200 years before the 24th arc cycle, in 1753 BC, these angels, commanded by the Creator through God of heaven and earth, began the process of raising up 3 prophets in the 3 great regions, Moses of Africa, CAPILYA of India, and CHINE of China. So by the beginning of the 21st arc cycle, 200 years later, when the ETHEREAN angels come, these 3 prophets were the ones who were capable of hearing the voice of the true God, unlike other nations who were worshiping the false gods. But this is just a brief order of the raising of a prophet. According to Owaspi, all the prophets were brought up in this manner. Verse 11. So, my son, God of Cryoshiva, hath raised up unto thee, O Lakah, 3 men, CAPILYA and CHINE and Moses, the fruit of the 6th generation in the lands of their fathers, and they are of the faithest in me, holy men and wise. To thee shall thou send thy gods of their forefathers, even they who were beaten away by the gods of evil. Verse 12. And CAPILYA shall deliver the faithest of India, and CHINE shall deliver the faithest of Japheth, and Moses shall deliver the faithest of Egypt, or Kemet. And this also shall thou put upon Moses and his people. He shall lead his people westward, and their heirs after them shall also go westward, yea, westward until they circumscribe the earth. 3,400 years shall thou allude to them to complete the journey. And wherever they go, they shall establish my name, Yahweh. They shall lead all people away from all gods to believe in the Great Spirit, who I am. Verse 13. And when they have carried my name to the west coast of Gautama, which is North America, and established me, behold, I will bring the earth into Cosmon, and my angel shall descend upon the earth in every quarters with great power. And it shall come to pass that the faithest of the children of Moses shall find the faithest of the children of China, and the faithest of the children of CAPILYA.